AITA for fighting with a teacher before the school year even starts? My daughter starts 6th grade in a couple of weeks. All of the incoming 6th graders have to do a book report. The email stated that books children do their reports on must be over 75 pages. My daughter wanted to do her report on Watchmen. It's her favorite book. I saw no problem with this. Book reports needed to be emailed in by August 1st so they can be given back to kids on the first day of school as their 1st grade. I got an email this morning stating that my daughter needs to redo her report, as a graphic novel isn't a book. I responded that a graphic novel is a book, and if there is a rule against graphic novels that needs to be stated in the instructions. The teacher said it was obvious. We went back and forth a couple of times, so I just forwarded the emails with the original assignment attached to the principal and told him to assign my daughter a teacher who can read directions, because this one clearly can't. I told my wife about it, and she's mad at me. She said I should have tried to handle things more diplomatically and am making us look bad to the principal. My argument is that if this teacher is too dumb to read her own assignment, why is that our daughter's problem? I told him to assign my daughter a teacher who can read directions, because this one clearly can't. Teachers put up with enough without comments. And parents like this. The disrespect and condescension here was uncalled for. I get your annoyance over the argument graphic novel versus book, but YTA info. The district sets this policy, not the specific teacher. So are there other teachers that would accept a graphic novel for this assignment? What did the principal say about the choice of a graphic novel? YTA. You know full well that a graphic novel was not what was intended. You could have asked if you weren't clear. She doesn't have to specify that it can't be a 75-page fashion magazine or comic book either. Because most parents have common sense, and manners, both of which you severely lack. Congrats on becoming the school year's most annoying parent before school even starts. YTA. Even if you had a valid point, you went about it in an obnoxious manner. Told him to assign my daughter a teacher who can read directions, because this one clearly can't. I don't think a new teacher is going to help here. Info. What exactly are you planning to do if the principal upholds the teacher's call? YTA. While I might agree the directions could have been clearer, you escalated things. Your responses to others here just reconfirm YTA. You don't actually want our opinions. You just want people to agree with you. And you are a bad parent. You have set your kid up to have to deal with the fallout from your behavior at school. This had better be a troll. Watchmen is in no way appropriate for a 6th grader. It has way too many adult themes. Graphic novels are not the same as books when it comes to word count, descriptive language, and vocabulary. So much is portrayed in imagery rather than word form. And throwing a tantrum about it is just so immature. You're acting like you're the one starting 6th grade, not your daughter. YTA. YTA for how you handled it. I actually agree that a graphic novel should count, but you didn't check with the person assigning it that it was acceptable, and b. You were a huge awe with how you then handled it. I would have requested a meeting with the teacher to discuss it rationally and show the graphic novel explaining why you feel it should be allowed. You could have pointed out your daughter put a lot of effort into her report and that the purpose of such things is to foster a love of reading which she has. You could have said you weren't comfortable with ignoring her effort and making her do it over, because you believed that wasn't a good lesson for her. Instead you went nuclear, insulted her and basically threw a tantrum, which is a horrible example. Edit. Your comments only reinforce that you are In fact, ta. YTA. You remind me of my college students who deliberately do an assignment incorrectly to make it much easier and then nitpick, wordsmith the instructions so they can use the excuse. But you didn't say I couldn't. The purpose of a 75-page minimum is to make sure kids are reading 75 pages of printed text. This is not rocket science. You know very well that a graphic novel has exponentially fewer words to read. Don't use the "but it's a book" excuse just because it has a binding. Geez Louise. Be the grown-up. YTA. Come on. Do you expect it to be written in the rules that movies don't count as books? That video games don't count as books? Sometimes common sense is required. Set a good example for your daughter and just admit you picked the wrong hill to fight on. What happens if the principal agrees with the teacher? Are you going to take the issue to the district? Are you going to gracefully back down and help your daughter find a new book to redo her project? YTA. This was not a hill to die on, and it's pretty clear from the instructions that the teacher wanted a traditional textbook. Getting all chest thumpy with your child's teacher was a really kinda Neanderthalish. Your child, or you, should have checked if something that wasn't explicitly obviously included could count. Heck, maybe if you'd asked nicely and used your manners to begin with, she would have been intrigued enough to say yes. Automod, thanks for posting. This comment is a copy of your post so readers can see the original text if your post is edited or removed. This comment is not accusing you of copying anything. Read this before contacting the mod team. My daughter starts 6th grade in a couple of weeks. All of the incoming 6th graders have to do a book report. The email stated that books children do their reports on must be over 75 pages. My daughter wanted to do her report on Watchmen. It's her favorite book. I saw no problem with this. Book reports needed to be emailed in by August 1st so they can be given back to kids on the first day of school as their 1st grade. I got an email this morning stating that my daughter needs to redo her report, as a graphic novel isn't a book. I responded that a graphic novel is a book, and if there is a rule against graphic novels that needs to be stated in the instructions. The teacher said it was obvious. We went back and forth a couple of times. So I just forwarded the emails with the original assignment attached to the principal and told him to assign my daughter a teacher who can read directions. Because this one clearly can't. I told my wife about it, and she's mad at me. She said I should have tried to handle things more diplomatically and am making us look bad to the principal. My argument is that if this teacher is too dumb to read her own assignment, why is that our daughter's problem? I am a bot, and this action was performed automatically. Please contact the moderators of this subreddit if you have any questions or concerns. NTA. You stood up for the hard work that your daughter did on her report, which, given that it was about her favorite book, was probably something that she put a lot of passion into. The teacher absolutely should have specified beforehand that graphic novels weren't allowed, especially given the age of her students. Also, it seems like most of the people judging you as in a whole are either blaming you for the teacher's potential response or also don't think that graphic novels are real books. Info: why is there vacation homework at all? It is vacation. Graphic novels are books. It's a perfectly fine genre. But also, is this whole summer assignment thing normal? Like, give the kids a break. YTA. The teacher is too. Your wife is right. The way you worded it with the principal is definitely going to make you look bad. Office staff talk. Teachers talk. Stand up for your kid. But don't open with a blatant and direct insult when talking with the principal. You will get stuff done much quicker if you approach situations calmly. Is Watchmen a book? Yes. AITA? Also, yes. YTA. The chosen book could be a misunderstanding, but you went nuclear for no reason. How would you like it if a work client sent an email to your boss asking to be reassigned to someone who can read directions after a misunderstanding? Esh. The teacher for A. Giving a summer book report in the first place. And B. For not just accepting the book report on a lengthy graphic novel with a "don't do it again" admonition. U. For not A. Checking with the teacher first and B. Having the nerve to act surprised that graphic novels are not traditionally appropriate for book reports. O and BTW. Watchmen has been in graphic novel format since the late 80s. So unless you're like 60, you probably wouldn't have tried to submit it for a book report when you were in school. Because you would have known better. And C. Essentially calling the teacher stupid over a pedantic difference of interpretation. Edit. Technically most cookbooks are over 75 pages too. Would that have been okay? Or is that not obviously the right kind of book?
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.